Hello.
Hello. We back.
Yes. And, Ju,
Yes.
I'm just gonna immediately say it. I was very hopeful that we wouldn't have to talk about dumb decisions by Dutch politicians this week.
Yep.
And then today I got the news.
Oh boy.
So, let's just start with that. So,
Like rip the bandage off, just
maybe the music is slightly loud.
yes. I told you.
But right. So the leader of the biggest party here in the Netherlands has how do I say it?
Resign? Wait, we're talking about the guy that resigned?
No, he was not the leader of the biggest party. I think that was the second
Oh,
biggest though.
yeah.
No.
We'll come back to that.
I mean Wilders.
Ah,
He made a very interesting statement today. Well,
surprising.
not today, yesterday.
What a surprise.
So
No.
Monday this week.
Yeah.
He
Monday the 26th.
Yes, he said uh that things are not going the way he wants them to. That's actually the first time that he even spoke to to the actual journalists. Like, actual press conference. He never does those. And he
Yeah,
said
because
that if the borders don't close and like a whole bunch of other things that he wants in regards to migration,
yeah.
that he will basically that this cabinet will fall, right? Like this
So basically what he's saying, if we're not gonna be super racist, this cabinet's gonna fall.
kind of.
Hmm. Doesn't sound like too good news to me because, well,
Oh wait. Yeah. So yeah. But here's the thing. He is the one for one of these things. He is the one who decided not to become. Because that's not entirely up to him, but still, he's not president. But he has wanted these things for so long, and now he is finally the boss, basically. And he just can't get it done. But it's even stupider, because you know what he actually said? He said
what?
that everything he wants is doable within the law and within, I guess, like,
Within the rules and
within the
regulations kind of thing.
regulations. When, like, after the laws and regulations have changed.
Yeah, I was about to say you can do everything within the laws if you make it legal.
Yeah, but dude, that way I can also get things done like that.
Yeah, well, let me change the law so what I want is possible.
Yeah. So right.
So we're basically to the level of the United States.
Um. Yeah, a little bit.
That is very concerning.
Maybe.
Only very concerning.
Oh wait. I'm struggling thinking of good controls for this game.
because I used to play this game with different controls. Anyway, but yeah, that happened here. So yeah,
And we also had another politician that was kind of leader of the
that's
second
the
biggest
second biggest.
party, who after I think the bajillionth burnout or problem
Yeah.
decided to finally resign. Well, let's say
Well,
finally, but
he already did resign, but this is like the sign off.
yeah, like you did resign, the final day has passed as well.
Yeah.
Which, how many burnouts did he have at some point? A lot.
Uh, I don't know,
Like,
but quite a few.
my man didn't stop having burnouts entirely. Like, he just got a burnout, went away for like a year, and then got back, then got another burnout. You know, that's how those things work, right? You
Yeah.
just keep going and going and going and going, and it doesn't stop. So resigning then is the best option to prevent, you know, everything from going down. And well,
Let's get you out of there.
I
Find
guess,
something that might help.
and I think half the part, like half the support, half the support of that party also went because
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
actually, there was a,
Say it'll be helpful.
like, they asked people, like, hey, like, they asked people who voted for them, uh, would you vote for them again? And, like, 54% of them said that the party might as well stop right now, like, they might as well just completely get rid of the entire party.
yeah, because the party basically consisted around one guy,
Yeah.
and that was
I'm gonna have to turn my game audio down more.
now that the
What the
guy is
hell?
gone, it is just done. That party will probably lose all their seats next election and then disappear.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess that is just government.
Yes.
Yeah, on to other news. I was at a Beetle event last Sunday,
Yeah.
and that even made the news. Like the local, like I usually stand at the entrance. Like that's where I started in 2018 with helping them,
Yeah.
and I still basically stand at the entrance. And first of all, we had like Autoweek, which is a car magazine. They had like a little thing there, and suddenly like the local news was there. They haven't talked to anybody yet, and they just sort of like, oh well, there's a Beetle event right now. Let's just go there. So even on Radio 2, they were talking about it for a tiny little bit, which I find funny because the event has grown significantly bigger then. If the news is finally picking up on it,
Mm-hmm.
that a bunch of old beetles are gathered in one area. Because it's
Yeah.
an event specifically for like the older, like the oval with the small rare windows. Which for those who don't know, our beetles produce, I think, till it's like 50s, maybe like early 60s beetles.
I don't know.
Those older ones, like the beetle, like the old model beetle, has been produced up until 2003 in Mexico. Meanwhile, And then they started a new series which went up until I think 2000, I think until 2020 or 2019. That's when the production of like the Beetle officially stopped after forever.
Yeah.
Basically after the Second World War.
Yeah.
Because that's when the Beetle started. Which many people probably already know, but the Beetle is basically a Second World War car. At least when it started, and then it grew to be a symbol of peace, which kind of funny. But I spent the entire time. I did get incredibly sunburned because I didn't bring sunscreen with me. Like the smart man that I am, I didn't bring it with me. But what I did do is wear my vest, so my arm is not that sunburned. It was just my face. I could be classified as a tomato at that point. Which is slightly concerning, but eh. I'm already a ginger, so there is a like there's I just burn instantly. Like that's already a thing.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Yes. Like there will probably be some point in my life where I will get skin cancer due to the constant sunburns.
Oh no, Shu, you're Gen Z. You just stay inside.
Yeah, that has been the solution so far. And it's working so far, so we're all good there.
You can just do the old school thing where you carry a parasol.
No,
for
what
fashion.
I will do is I will wear an umbrella hat. I'm seriously considering buying an umbrella hat. Because think about it, right?
An umbrella hat.
You want your
You mean
head
just
to
like a hat with a rim, like?
No, like a hat, you know, like a normal hat, but then with an umbrella on top.
Does that exist?
Yes. They look stupid, but honestly, might be worth it, considering you would not only be having a deployed umbrella, so you will remain dry, but here comes the best part. You have your hands free. Usually with an umbrella, one hand is occupied with holding the umbrella. But not with an umbrella hat. Umbrella
Yeah.
hats are designed
But
to keep you
isn't a
dry.
wide-brimmed hat like the same thing? At least it actually looks good.
Does it have to look good though?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna walk the street with it.
Which isn't gonna walk the street with it.
I mean, fair enough.
I'm just gonna be stupid and just, you know.
Really? Fucking M10 short.
Because why would I put effort into my outfit if I can just wear an umbrella hat and look goofy and then just enjoy that? Like, why would I need to be serious if I can just
I don't know.
be dumb? Wear an umbrella hat to an event so I can just stay in the shade. Or if I want to be cool and fancy, I do a backpack with an umbrella built into it that I can just deploy from the backpack. Because how awesome would that be? You just press a button or you unclip something, and an umbrella just extends out of it, out of a pocket. Like you zip open the pocket and the umbrella extends out. Or if you want to do it in a dangerous way, you do everything spring loaded. So as soon as you press the button, the umbrella just jumps out of it, smacking everybody nearby in the face. As it should.
Right.
Because why do things safely when you can do things dangerously?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair enough. But like, I mean,
Where's the fun in safety? I mean, of
um,
course, safety. I say that, but I do know that safety is a necessity.
being
If you
alive.
don't keep... Exactly, if you don't keep things safe, you will suffer the consequences of losing limbs, damaging yourself, and or facing death possibly, which would be rather suboptimal to face. Because, well, good luck doing anything fun while dead. That's the thing, you won't. And yeah, I should have brought sunscreen into that event, but I didn't, so I just suffered. And yeah, that was basically that day. I did get to drive home. It was about a 1 hour drive home. It was with my dad. And at some point I was looking in my mirror, because you should look in your mirrors, and they're not only there to check if your hair is still good, they are there to look behind you. And so I did look behind me. One guy was just, don't know what he was doing. He was on his phone. He was calling, which he wasn't doing it hands-free. So he was doing it illegally. And he went like 3 lanes over towards an exit.
Of course.
Right behind me. Like, he went close behind me. Like, it was just like, why are you this close to my rear end?
Actually, I had something kind of weird in traffic today.
Ooh, like
So, as I was biking to my job, right?
what? Yes.
In front of me, there was another biker. But he did
Yes.
something very, very interesting. He was
Like
biking on the left side of the road.
Oh, I've seen that many times before.
For all our British people, that you're supposed to be on the right side here in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
So, but it gets weirder. He was on the left side, then he looked back, and behind me there was a car, right? Like there was a car incoming. So he goes
Yeah.
all the way to the right, the car passes, and he goes all the way back to the left.
What? What? Eh?
Yeah.
How? What? Eh?
I don't know.
Like, I've seen a lot of people bike on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Like, it is not a new. It's not a new thing.
Yeah.
A lot of
I'm
people
gonna
think.
tell my. Hold up. I need to
A lot
tell
of
my.
people think it's the United Kingdom
I
here.
need to tell my brother to fucking piss off for a moment. Hold on. Give me a sec. I will pause the recording. Okay. Apparently. Oh, Zhu is not here.
My mom still has a tendency to walk into my room, so
Alright, so
I don't mind.
apparently there are just gonna be slight bass noises in my background because apparently that thing is just incapable of being quieter.
Huh.
Look at Gemini.
Oh well.
I'm knowing. Wait, Crot is be careful.
Also, this might be like coming out of the blue, but I did have, like, I bought a Too Good To Go bag again for the first time in a while, and in there was some juice. Like, I think I've already had apple orange juice before, like a combination, but this one is banana orange juice.
Oh.
So the combination of banana and orange, and it is not bad.
I'll use my.
Like you immediately get hit with a banana flavor. Like that's the first thing that kind of hits you, like the banana. But then you kind of get the orange in between. That's not a bad flavor, honestly. And it is kind of like there are combinations you don't think of. You do not suddenly think, oh wait, let me do some banana with my orange juice.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody has thought of it at some point in their life because,
Yeah.
eh?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it was in the package, and it is like they are very much near their expiration date. They just haven't sold yet, and that's their entire thing. Like things that haven't sold yet that have to be sold, or that are otherwise going to be thrown away. You just sell it at a massively reduced price.
Of course.
Then people are gonna buy it because, well, it's like 50% off. And who doesn't want to buy stuff at 50% off?
Yeah.
Just putting the sticker on it already entices people to buy.
True.
Which then also means that, well, you get to enjoy the fun of also meat and other things that haven't sold. It's still good after that. It doesn't really matter if it's doesn't really matter if it's sold already or not sold, if it's almost about to expire, if you're gonna eat it immediately. But, and it's way cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And I love cheaper because spending less money is always a good thing.
Very
That's
true.
why you should waste less food, because wasting food also means that you're gonna have to buy more of it. Because waste just means you're not eating it.
Yeah.
And if you instead of think like, oh, I'm gonna throw this away, just keep it for a month. And then see what happens. Or not keep for a month, just keep for like the next day. And then eat it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Wow.
Depends on the food, honestly. Like, if it's food that expires quickly, then like milk and such, then if it's expired, throw it away. But it's like a
Yeah.
very easy example is you made lasagna, right? And you made too much. Just put it in the fridge, and the next day, take it out of during dinner or right before dinner, take it out of the fridge, warm it up, and boom, you have delicious lasagna that you've made. Yesterday, you didn't need to do any more work. That's also a thing. And you can enjoy it. It's also a thing if you reheat your food, you have to spend less time cooking because you already did it.
Yes.
So if you're living alone or with only a couple people and no kid, or even with kids, and let's say you're gonna make some pasta, just make too much and then eat it over multiple days. kind of have the same thing with Chinese food. Like Chinese, if you order Chinese food here in the Netherlands, of course, it's not like actually what you eat in China. That
Yeah,
is
no.
just
No.
not it. But what you do get is food that will last you multiple days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can count on it that you will have multiple days worth of food. So what we often do is we eat, like the first day we eat out of those plastic, those plastic boxes, like containers that they come into. We eat out of those the first day, and after that, what we have left, the next day we just put it in one big pan and just combine it all, and then just eat that the next day. So then we have food for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So fighting food waste, not only does it help the environment because there's less waste, and it also means less production is required. You
Yes.
also save money. And I feel like we can incentivize being environmentally friendly by reducing your waste. You can probably incentivize that a lot with the saving of money.
Yes.
Just the more stuff you save, the less money you spend. And especially in these days, saving money is a necessity.
Pretty
Unless
much.
if you can spend less money, you will spend less money.
Yes.
And I feel like there are still a lot of people that are wasting food. So if you could spend less money by buying food that is about to go bad, that's already a big plus. And if you can even combine it with like wasting less food. Also, before you throw it away, smell, look, taste, is it bad? And then act upon it. Not just see, oh, it's past its expiration date, boom, thrown away. I feel like that's a first step. Just first see if it's good. Not assume that it's immediately spoiled once it's after its
Yeah.
expiry date, because that expiry date is more for the stores.
Well, yeah. Depends on what it is, though.
Yeah, I mean, if
'Cause, like-
it's dairy like milk,
Yeah.
then more often than not, it is actually expired after that date. But for example, like especially candy or sodas,
Yeah.
they do not expire. Things with a high sugar content do not expire,
No.
or at least not quickly. You can often keep them for a lot longer than you think. If there's a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah.
And also, buying one of those bags with almost expired food gives you a great opportunity, because there was also in the package that I got was butter. Well, what are you going to use a lot of butter for? Then I thought, brownies. They require a lot of butter.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll be making brownies tomorrow.
Nice.
So yeah, let's see how they turn out, because sometimes, like often or not, my brownies collapse after they are out of the oven. Like they're
Well,
perfectly fine when they just get out of the oven. Just as soon as they cool down, they just collapse.
well, you should give
They
them
pull a
a
Soviet
better,
Union and they just
better
collapse.
foundation.
Yes, or put some yeast into it so it can actually, rise a little bit and gain some stability.
Yes.
And honestly, that doesn't really matter all that much. if the brownies have collapsed or not. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're brownies. You're still gonna eat them if they're collapsed, right? Shape doesn't matter. The taste matters. Think about that without context. Yeah. And also, Jim, how long have we been recording? Half an hour.
Yes.
I think that it's perfectly fine to talk about some weird news that I've seen today.
Okay. Go ahead.
That 4 porn sites are being looked at from the EU is looking at them
Right.
for not protecting children enough, or not having enough protection against children getting onto those platforms. Because turns out just having one warning say, just one box saying, "I am over 18," is not enough. We've all been kids. We've all done it. Like, are you 18 enough? Like, what is your age? Because you have to be 18 years or older to be on this platform. What do? You say you are 50. Just say you're above like 20 or above 50. You just say you're old, and then boom, you're allowed on those platforms. No second check. No other thing is done. They just believe you, and that is great.
Yeah.
Until you realize what kind of platforms you're going on to.
That's great. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
As
yeah.
a kid, it's great.
Right.
I mean, as a kid, this is the best thing ever, because you're doing something sneaky, and as doing something sneaky is always better,
Yeah.
because you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
That's why people break the law, because you're not allowed to do it.
Sometimes.
Like,
yeah,
some people
sure.
really just thrive on that hit of it is not allowed, so I'm gonna do it. Because, well, you have the thrill of, ooh, it's illegal. Even though you should be protected from them. It's the internet. The internet is kind of still a wild west of
Yes.
everybody's just doing something, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, of course, some parts
So-
are like heavily guarded, like YouTube.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, YouTube protection seems to be pretty good.
A little bit too good, even.
I'll give it.
I want to say. Like, YouTube is strict with their profanity and everything. But it's more towards advertisers, honestly. Like, that protection does not come from like from their heart to say, "Oh, we want to protect it. We need to protect the children from hateful
Yeah.
people."
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that is not there. That's not the reason why they do those things. They do it to protect their wallets. Because if there's one thing that incentivizes people, that incentivizes companies, it is money.
Yes. That is very true.
Money incentivizes a lot of companies. If it makes the money, they will do it. If it loses the money, they will stay away from it.
Yeah.
They will avoid it like the plague. Purely because, well, they want more money. They want 2 billion profit instead of 1.
Yeah.
Even though, in my opinion, 1 billion in profit is more than enough.
I mean, so wait, That means all we gotta do to stop world hunger is pay rich people to provide food for the.
That would be a good idea if they didn't put all the money in their own pockets. If the money actually went to, you know, the companies and the money goes to the people that are actually hungry instead of you know, we all know what happens. It is not good. Like a lot of the money that goes towards those people that are hungry, like charities for example, sometimes ends up with the wrong people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is why that's why you should. That's why just. I mean, unless you can make feeding people like monetizable, which I doubt that you can make it monetizable.
Why?
You're basically just.
Why would you think that?
Well, think about it, right?
What, you can't pay people to pay?
No.
Why not?
Also, not only will trying to do that fail, but it will cost you more money.
Probably, yeah. But like, you know, you can always try, Joe.
I mean, I guess you can always try, but
Stop being negative. I think this is a perfectly plausible plan.
sure.
Like, I can prove it to you. If you pay me, then I will get a lunchbox for it. This feels mean. Not to you.
Yeah.
To actual charities. Should we donate to a charity in response?
We could, but honestly, like I need the money myself right now.
Alright, so what
I am
you're
my own
saying,
charity at this point.
So what you're saying is you're
Give money to
greedy.
me.
You're greedy.
Well, considering I would like to at some point live in a house on my own, having money is kind of important. You know? In case you haven't noticed it, but in this day and age, money is important. Apparently more important than living. Like more important than having fun. Because I would like to at some
you
point.
just need the money to have fun. That's the thing.
I guess. But I do like to at some point, you know, have a, little bit of, you know, a life.
Nah. What do you what do you need a life for?
Living.
There's nothing left to live for, mate.
Nothing left. Ouch. That sounds depressing. But there is some stuff to live for,
Oh yeah, there
like
is
lasagna.
like brownie.
Like there is a lot of stuff to live for. Like many different kinds of pizza.
Sure.
Food is important. And delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
So why end it early if you can have more food?
I'm not saying you should end it early. I'm saying you should become a cog in the machine
No.
and not wish for anything else.
That sounds boring.
Just be happy that you have a purpose.
I want to drive an old car, you know? Does that sound like a basic thing?
It sounds like you don't want to be part of the capitalist machine and should be executed.
Well then suck it, because you are correct. That's why I'm buying more and more physical media, like CDs.
What? What? What does that have to do with this?
Because, hear me out on this one. So can be more, so can be less dependent on subscriptions, like for example Spotify.
Yeah, okay.
If you have CDs, well, guess what you can do? You can now listen to music while only paying for it once, instead of paying a monthly price just to listen to music. And you don't even get ads. I would be surprised if they introduce ads into your CDs.
They will hack your CD and add ads for you, Joe. Just for
Good.
you.
How are they going to hack something that's completely offline?
By secretly
Yes.
swapping it out.
How? They have to break into my house and then swap out my CDs.
They'll
That seems
hire
like-
they'll hire the Nintendo ninjas.
We do just give her that baby puppet.
You mean the people that will cause my Nintendo Switch to get bricked if I mod it even a little bit?
Yes.
It's kind of scary that they actually were talking about that. I think they've kind of
I don't know.
cancelled that plan, but they were actually planning on doing that.
I don't know.
Where if they detected any abnormal software or anything, they would just brick your Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Well.
I find kind of disgusting. Like, I purchased the device. I have put money for the ownership of one of your devices. And suddenly you're telling me that I have to use it in your specific way because that's what you want, even though I own the device.
Of course.
You just provided the software and hardware and the casing surrounding it. Because that's what Nintendo Switch is. You have the software, you have the hardware, you have some plastic casing around it. And you purchase that. You purchase those materials combined in a specific way to form a Nintendo Switch. And all of a
Wow.
sudden, the company making it says, "I know you've purchased it, but if you don't do what we want you to do with it, we will brick your device and you have to buy a new one." So that's why offline things are sometimes better than online things. I also think that more new big games, like AAA games, should not be like constant online. Like, that is just weird. I'm not sure if you've noticed actually, Jim, but there are games that are just only online.
Yeah.
Even the single player bit.
Yeah, that,
Especially
yeah.
with PlayStation.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And what happens when the PlayStation servers go down? People realize how little games they can actually play. Because they couldn't play anything. Because their single player games were online apparently.
Yeah.
Your single player experience where only you are there. There are no other people. Is apparently online. I mean, sure, I would say that for updates you would have to be online.
Maybe.
But for example, take previous games, like, back when this is gonna make me sound old, but during the early 2000s, like, games back then did not have any updates. Like for the Nintendo Wii, you would not have updates.
Yeah, you would.
Well, for a lot of games you didn't. You just got the game and that was it.
No, they updated the Wii.
Wasn't necessarily a thing.
But it is becoming more common. Like, it's a lot
If
more
you
common than back in the day.
back then, if you uploaded a game, or if you published it, it had to be finished. Like, it had to be tested, it had to be functional, it had to be done. You cannot get away with an unpolished game,
No.
because that would lead you to a lot of trouble down the line, because people would try your game, realize it is unmanageable because it is buggy and unfinished, and then quit the game, and then talk bad about it, which results in less sales. Like, for example, Super Paper Mario. That game, like those kind of games, where you only have an offline thing, they had to be finished. Like, if there's a major bug in those games, they had to be found before you published it, because I think you only had physical back then.
Probably, yeah.
So you only had your physical media. So if the physical media then had a bug, well, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. You're gonna have to either do a recall or publish it again, say remastered. You're gonna have to do major changes just to get the game up and running again. These days, like for example from a couple of years ago, Cyberpunk 2077, it just wasn't playable when it came out. It was just broken. Nobody apparent, and then that also keeps happening over the last couple of years, which basically wrecks pre-sale income because nobody's gonna pre-order the games. Nobody's gonna play the games when they come out because they know it's gonna be a buggy mess that nobody wants to play.
Yeah.
So they're gonna wait. Like, sure, you have the couple of diehards that will actually buy the games, but most likely you will have those people that are just think like, yeah, I'm gonna wait. Same thing that I'm gonna do with GTA 6. So first of all, I'm gonna play it on PC, so I'm gonna have to wait an extra couple of years. But I'm not gonna play it until it's at a decent price.
I don't know if I'll play
I'm
it
not-
at all.
I'm not gonna buy it at full price. I'm just gonna wait till Epic Games gives it to me for free. You know, like GTA 5. And also, not all games need to have realistic graphics. Like,
No.
sure, it looks nice. But what is the best sold game in the world?
Tetris.
Nope, Minecraft.
No,
It surpassed Tetris.
Yes, but actually the most downloaded game is Tetris.
Yeah, but
Unless it's not anymore, but I think it still is.
those two games, do they have very realistic graphics? No, they're both blocky games.
Yeah.
Apparently people really like their blocks.
I mean, fair enough.
And yeah, that just indicates to me that you don't need fancy graphics for a video game to make it sellable and popular. Another one, for example, Team Fortress 2. Does that have fancy high graphics and look super realistic? No, you have rocket jumping. You have rocket jumping in the game. That is not realistic. If you tried it in real life, you would lose your legs. You're blowing yourself up at that point. Don't do it. Keep it to the games. Or double jumps. Like, it doesn't have... Nothing has to be ultra realistic to be good.
I mean, just look at this game.
Can get from City Hall to the factory with the key.
Like, this is not
That game's
completely...
gonna-
Like, it's somewhat realistic, but it's stylized enough. Like, this will hold up for a while.
If you can.
Yeah. And honestly, having lower graphics means you have more budget to go into story. Because if you have a game with beautiful views, people will look at it and be like, wow, and then go on with their life.
Honestly,
But if you have a game with a good
Wait.
story,
when I was playing the Elden Ring DLC, they kind of seem to have run into an issue with that DLC where... Oh shit, I forgot something. Like, a lot of the little dungeon areas, which there's a lot less of than there are in the base game, but like, you know, little caves and things. At the end, a lot of them, the reward will be just like an ancient dragonstone, which is not bad. But, you know, it's not super outstanding as a reward. But a lot of the times, I was like, I just liked exploring because everything was so beautiful to look at.
yes. But once you're done exploring, what do you have left to do? In the meantime, if you have a very interesting and engaging story, you might want to revisit that story again.
Yes.
And again and again and again, meaning you play for thousands upon thousands of hours.
Well, actually, that's funny because Nier Automata is my favorite story ever, but I only have 50 hours in the game.
I mean, that is because you're more interested in the story, and the story isn't really told in the game.
It is. I'm talking about
Well,
the
it is,
main.
of
I'm
course.
talking about the main story. I'm not talking about the lore. Because the lore, I mean, the lore is also pretty cool, but it's also a mess.
Like FNAF lore.
Oh no, it's a lot worse. It's a lot more of a mess.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the FNAF franchise, but I rarely have hours in the game.
Just go watch the 6.5-hour Nier lore video and you'll get it.
I guess that is an option.
I've watched it 3 times, but no, but and it's mostly because in terms of gameplay, like it's good. Why have I never noticed this? Now I feel bad about killing him.
But I mean,
But,
it's better to have engaging gameplay and story than
no. I
views.
like the gameplay, but it's from a gameplay perspective, it's also just a really good game. It's just that I prefer other types of games in terms of gameplay.
I mean,
oh, look,
it's all about
there's
what...
Nier music right now.
Yeah, but everybody has their own style, so not everybody's going to like the games you make. Which is also, it's better to focus on a franchise than, just trying to make it for a broad audience.
Yeah.
They end up with a jack of all trades, master of none, and just a game that nobody really likes because it doesn't stand out. Just another generic title number 275. But when you have a game that really stands out, it really focuses on a thing, yeah, you're gonna exclude a lot of people because not everybody's interested in it. But you will also get a bigger group that thinks like, ooh, this is actually interesting. Like, this engages me. For example, the game that I'm currently playing while we're recording this, Train Sim World 3. I know 5 is out already, I just have this one. I'm not willing to pay for the new version. But it's basically just train driving. A lot of different trains. And for some people, that will be seen as boring. To me, it's quite interesting. It is just dependent on. And a lot of people like a lot of different things. I mean, I have tried Elden Ring, but it's a game that I don't really go well with.
We should play it
So
again.
everybody, yeah, but it's like I feel I'm miserable at that combat system.
I mean, so was I when I started.
Yeah, that is true. Everybody's shit at everything when they start out. Unless you have talent or you have previous experience, but then you're not a beginner anymore. A lot of beginners that have 0 experience are going to suck.
Yes.
And also depends that it does also then depend on the question: am I willing to put in a lot of effort to get to the point where I'm competent? Am I willing to to do that?
So the fun thing with Elden Ring, especially if you do it together, you don't have to be competent if you just gotta know where to find things. And I know where to find things.
Yeah, because you're with 2 people, so you can just team up on one boss.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't actually always help, because they do scale up with that. But I know where to find things, and if you know where to just get some items, you can just... I mean, there's a video by Bushy where he just one-shots every single boss in the game. Like, it's possible to do that if you just know where to find things. You don't even have to over-level for it. Like, you can just do it.
That is a possibility.
And by just do it, I mean do a whole bunch of really timing, like strict timing stuff to make sure buffs don't run out.
Yeah, exactly. Are
But
you
you can
willing
do
to
it.
put in that effort just to...
Well, you're not supposed to do it like that, you know?
Exactly, but are you willing to put in the effort to do a lot of precise timing?
Well, you don't... that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really want to be good, then yeah, then you need to do that. But if you just want to beat the game, you don't actually need to learn all that.
You can just be very bad at the game and still win.
Yeah. If you just
after
go
hundreds of hours.
exploring, I mean, there's a reason the Tree Sentinel is right outside of the starting area, like right after the tutorial. You're never gonna beat him. It's supposed to be like it's there so that you're just immediately like, okay, I don't have to fight this guy right now. Same with Market. Like, you don't have to fight Market immediately.
And it's just an indicator of, hey, you're gonna get your ass kicked a lot in this game.
We did, and I'm surprised. Well, not completely immediately, but pretty quick. And I'm surprised we got past them, honestly.
Oh, this place gives me the creeps.
Didn't we ask for help?
Yeah, but not online. Like just from the dude.
But the two of us did manage to beat it, but otherwise you're just grinding for like a day.
Yes.
It's all depending on how much patience you have with those games.
Yeah.
I wanted to bet if I show you how Stormworks works, you're gonna be struggling for the first like
Yeah.
50 hours.
Yeah.
Because
No,
that game really has a learning curve that just loops back on itself. It starts out with, it's incredibly difficult, then you start learning stuff, you think, oh, I'm more competent now, I can do things. But then you figure out there's more to the game. And that is when you realize that you have to learn other stuff, and then you are at the beginning of the learning curve again. Like maybe slightly further than before because you don't have the beginning thing. But you're immediately shoved into like a no tutorial engineering game where you just have to learn the little ins and outs of the game. And other games just hold your hand a little bit more, which some people like.
Well, as I said, as I told you, this game is actually gonna get an easy mode and a normal mode apparently. And then this, what I'm playing now, is gonna be hard mode. It's just a weird decision to me. Not necessarily to do it at all, but to do it now. Like over a year after the release. You know?
They're probably planning on something with the release.
Well, I'm assuming it's gonna come out with the DLC, right?
Yeah.
If they're gonna be funny about it, they make it so you can only play easy mode if you buy the DLC.
But they've probably gotten a lot of feedback from the game saying that it's too difficult.
Well, actually, fun fact, they did. And it's from people that play this game like it is Bloodborne or like it is Sekiro. It's neither. You know, like...
Yeah, but you do then... they've probably gotten a lot of complaints it's too difficult, and then they're starting to like, alright, we're gonna have a major update with a DLC that will
Yeah.
bring in a lot of
But
new people.
The thing with that
We
is,
want to
like,
give them...
all of these games
some.
get that. And then over time, you know, as people just learn the game. Like, you don't...
Yeah, but
you
they
know?
probably realize that by giving you an easy mode option, you can keep the early gate. You can keep the more of the people that would otherwise leave.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, the game would be, I guess, more accessible.
Which means more profit.
Yes, but still, it's like a strange decision to do it a year after launch, you know?
It is, but it is what's going to give them more money.
I suppose. I wonder if they'll do that for the sequel as well, or is that just gonna immediately get an easy mode?
Like do the same thing, just not an easy mode,
Wait,
but then all of a sudden
Okay.
easy mode.
Wait, you don't need to fight this guy? I thought, okay, well, goodbye then. I thought you had to fight that guy.
But honestly, easy modes, yeah, they are they are a solid option if you like, even with racing games. Like I can remember
Yeah.
when I was still playing Forza Horizon 5 after abandoning it for being too much of an arcade racer for my taste. It was just this, like, you had, yes, you would get more bonuses and more, you get more rewards when you do it, when you beat at a more difficult level. That is obvious
Yeah.
when you are in the menu, but it kind of incentivizes you to drive better. But it also means that you can do it in easy mode. You can do it in an easier way. You don't have to really keep pushing or be stuck in it with a difficult difficulty. You can kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, I am so curious how Crowsworn is gonna do it, because apparently they're gonna have enemy AI and behavior. Like, they're not gonna have difficult settings, instead the AI behavior is gonna be adapting to your skill level somehow.
They're probably going to be made easier or more difficult depending
Yeah,
on.
but I wonder, like, how they're gonna gauge that.
I think it depend. I think it's entirely on what you die from.
Maybe,
Like
yeah.
when you die, what is the thing that killed you?
Maybe. But apparently the main developer, like the lead developer, has already made a game with that, and it's on Steam. It's not that expensive, so I might play that.
Some sort of like Hello Neighbor
Uh,
type deal.
yeah, except Hello Neighbor ended up not even doing it.
Yeah, but like, didn't Hello Neighbor have like, well, you got caught
Yeah,
going in through
no,
that
they
way.
wanted
That way
to
is now
do
locked.
that. They wanted to do that, and they promised to do that, and it was in some of the like alpha builds, and then in the final game, it's just not there. Except for bear traps. I think he plays as bear traps. Like, that's it.
They really fucked up that game, haven't they?
Oh, it's much worse. For the second game, they promised that there would be a there would be like adaptive AI, like an actual neuro AI. What do you call it?
Yeah.
Like neurological, whatever. Like, and they were like, yeah, wishlist the game, because then you will know when the game releases, and you can be one of the first to train. You know, to train the AI, and then they never put it in. Probably because they realized that if you do that, first up, it would need so much training data to be competent. Second, how competent would you allow that to become? Because AI, we've seen it before, is fully able to exploit the game mechanics and glitches.
Worst of all,
And you don't want your mascot exploiting your game.
And they are capable of doing it a lot more consistently, because they can be frame perfect.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Which means that not only are you going to be dealing with a AI that exploits your game, they will never fail at those exploits.
Yeah. There's
They
this,
can
there's like a video, I think it's actually an OpenAI video, where they teach AI to play hide and seek. And at first they suck, obviously.
Yes.
But eventually, they find out, so there's like a couple things to interact with, right? So there's like 2 rooms and then a couple of blocks, and they can like block off the door, or with one of the blocks, and then that way the seekers wouldn't be able to enter, right?
Yeah.
However, there would also be like a ramp, and then the seekers could go over the block. So eventually they obviously figured out that if they lock themselves in with the ramp, then the seeker can do that. Until they found out they can glitch the thing through the wall out of bounds.
Yeah, so you would then basically be
Yes.
forcing ramps out of the game, meaning that you can block yourself in.
It goes further. Because eventually the seekers found out on another map that they could glitch the blocks into basically acting as surfboards, and because they were then elevated, they could see over walls. So,
That kind of seems
just imagine
like
if Hello Neighbor actually went through with this, how would they limit that?
yeah.
A part of me really wished that they had done that. I might have actually played Hello Neighbor 2 if they had done it.
Imagine
it would be so
like
funny.
such an. Ooh, could you teach an AI to play Sekiro or Elden Ring and just
Probably, yeah. If it
because
gets
they would be
advanced. We have
frame
AI
perfect
playing
eventually.
Minecraft nowadays, like, sure.
Yeah, but with Sekiro especially, if you want frame perfect parries, or with Lies of P, if you can basically be consistently perfect. You can
Eh,
fight without ever losing.
yeah.
And they will also dodge perfectly. They will know the attacks. Like, sure, they have their occasional slip up, but apart from that, they'll probably be the perfect AI.
Yeah.
And honestly, putting AI into games, sure, but just don't do it with the images. Or with the voices. Because I was looking for new mobile games to play and I found a game that was decently interesting. But I ended up deleting it again because it had AI. It just had those AI images in there. And I was like, you just gave it a prompt and then let it go.
Yeah.
That is not the not the way to go here.
Yeah. I don't know. I
That is-
actually just don't have an opinion. Like, I draw, but I don't actually have an opinion on AI art, honestly. Like, I mean, I have an
honestly-
opinion on that thing where people just put in one prompt and just take whatever comes out of it.
Yeah, but if you want to make that look good, then you basically have to. Then you get to the part where it qualifies under AI assisted.
Yeah.
And honestly, with that, I'm like, sure, not everybody has the talent to create such a thing. But I feel like there should be a disclaimer with it that it was partially generated by AI.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're massively damaging the image of actual creators. Like actual artists who can draw, who can create,
Yeah.
who can do from a blank image to a full, beautiful image. Or a blank piece of paper to a full-on drawing. Not everybody can do that. Like, I'm still willing to learn how to draw, but I still kind of have to, you know,
Yeah.
I just have to practice and it takes time and I'm
Yeah, I was about
More
to
often
say,
than
like,
not,
I do
not
think
putting in the
everyone can draw. All you need to do is, like, put in a little bit of time.
you just have to kind of get your own
What's that?
style going.
Who is burning to death? Something just burned to death. Oh, from the ball.
Because that's the thing, like, you shouldn't, like, of course you can go for ultra realistic.
Yeah, no, okay,
But
that's,
you might
that's
as well-
a different story, but...
You might as well go to school to learn biology at that point to get your human anatomy if you want to do that flawlessly
Yeah.
or have a lot of practice.
I do need to at some point, relatively soon, actually just like stop drawing thumbnails and like and my comic and all that, and just start doing a whole bunch of anatomy and poses just to get not just better but maybe quicker at it, because it takes me like a decade to refine it.
That is also a thing indeed. Yeah, you have time. Like I think I've made one little drawing that I did send you like a while ago.
Yeah.
That was just done in like 5 minutes. It was just a quick thing.
Yeah.
But I do kind of want to create at least some drawings where I can like I would like to at some point draw cars with some detail and actually put that, make that look good, so I have more of an idea on how to put that into like a 3D model.
I mean that
To
would
then 3D
be
print
a
it.
lot easier than doing anatomy.
Yeah. But
Because
you
you
do
can
that,
like simplifying a car is not that difficult to do.
well, it is a lot of perspective.
Yes, but perspective is really just drawing lines.
Yeah.
And especially if it's just to give an idea, it really doesn't have to be perfect at all.
Well, not partially to give an idea, but also to just like as a really good image in general, so I know exactly what I want. Like first of all, going from what I actually want in my head and really put that on paper. Because I've tried it a couple of times, so it ends up looking, yeah, I don't know, not the best. I just want to get better at that. But I'm first at the point of trying to get a job. Because I have applied for multiple jobs now. One already rejected me because I simply don't have the space.
Yeah.
And the
fair
other
enough.
one, I did actually apply for a position for within like the train kind of space where you're coordinating what happens after an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of like the people that manage the train services, like which one goes where,
Yeah.
but more like the accident part of it. So let's say a train broke down. Well, now it's your responsibility to call it in, get that part shut down, fix or move the train, or fix the train, whatever. Like get the blockage gone,
Mm-hmm.
and then reopen it. Like say, oh yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a fun thing to do. Of course, should we work shifts? Yeah, a little bit tired. You'll be working shifts, but yeah, you know why I'm tired? I had to bring my rabbit to the vet,
Uh-huh.
where we heard he was fat. It's 2.33 kilograms. Well, it needs to be around 2, so he's 330 grams too
Sure.
heavy.
Are you really gonna allow them to just body shame your rabbit?
My rabbit is over 8 years old. He's getting old. He probably doesn't need all the food he's been getting. But I mean, apart from that, everything was pretty much perfect. Like we had to go to a new vet because the one we were going for we were going to suddenly was like shut down. Like was just closed permanently without any notice towards us.
Oh, that's great.
Like towards because there was no notice towards the people going to that clinic. Going to that specific vet, there was like no indication that they were shut down all of a sudden, which is weird.
Yeah.
So we had to
would
go
say
to a
so,
different one. And this one actually was a lot more thorough with their kind of yearly checkup. basically a a animal MOT, like the yearly checkup. Same with your car, if you live in an area where you do have to do that.
Isn't that in the entire Netherlands?
Yeah, the entire Netherlands, you have the UK that does that, parts of the United States. A lot of places do it where you have a yearly checkup for your car, but not every place has it.
Oh.
But the thing is as well, with the whole like checkup, we had the bike there, so we put the bunny in the transport container or put him in, which is an old hamster cage where he does fit. And then in my mom's cargo bike, and then we cycled towards the vet. Funny thing is, at the end, the bunny was laying down. Like, for those who know, just when a bunny just lays long, it's basically a baguette, almost. Like that. Even when we were entering the vet, like the room where it was gonna get his checkup, still as relaxed as ever.
Wait, that's good.
Like just laying down, and then didn't really made a fuss about it,
That's good.
because they have sometimes they like to jump off the table. Then they don't want that, because it can actually really harm the animal, and you don't want to come in for just a checkup and having to keep the animal there because they hurt themselves jumping off the table.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So they just, I guess. Yeah. And his front paw was wet. So I got the question if that happened often. You know, with because if rabbits have wet feet, then that can be a sign of problems. But this wasn't a sign of a problem. Well, depends on the problem, but he peed while we were on the way, and he laid in it with his front paws, so they were wet from that. Because the dumbass laid in his own pee.
Yeah.
It's still a dumb fuck.
Isn't every rabbit?
Yes. Have you seen how they sometimes just look at you like there's nothing going on beside those big eyes?
Yeah.
And they do a binky and they just run off somewhere.
Yes.
They just shake their head, throw their ass up in the air, and then they're off. And weird enough, that's a sign that rabbits are happy. When they start moving wildly. And also, my bun decided that he was comfortable enough at the vet to wash himself. Like, that was a surprise to me.
Okay.
It was like, usually you would expect animals at a vet to be incredibly nervous and just alert at all times. But my bun was like, you're done touching me for now. I'm gonna wash myself. Because you touched me and that apparently makes me dirty, so now I have to wash.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes me feel like a proud dad. That my bun behaved well at the vet. So I can understand how dads feel when their child behaves well when they're getting their vaccinations. Just without a fuss. Just let it happen, it's gonna be done. If you struggle, it's only going to last longer. Like, that's with vaccinations with small children. What you need to prevent is like that over caring, because they'll just cause panic. If you're going to be like, oh, are you okay? Do you need a glass of water? This is gonna hurt a little bit. that's gonna cause children to panic.
Yeah.
But if they did it with my sister, like, all right, here we go, done.
Actually,
If you just do it,
uh, I for some reason, like is not the word, but I write about trauma.
yeah,
I found out today that a real thing in that is that some people will. It's called regressing, where they literally start behaving like they're younger than they are, to the point that sometimes they can actually just turn back into toddlers. Obviously, like momentarily, like it usually doesn't last very long. It's in like stressful situations or whatever.
just a situation where the mind kind of starts going to fight or flight,
Yes.
or completely locks up, where it
Yes.
goes to kind of like like the lost save
Yeah.
state of mind, and if that hasn't been there in a long time, that is kind of a valid trauma response, in my opinion, or like a panic response.
Yeah.
If you haven't felt like, sure, it can be an actual disorder, but it could also come from the fact that you might have not felt safe for a long time, and back then was the only time you felt safe. So if you are in a stressful situation and need to feel safe quickly, or your mind snaps to it, that you end up like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see how that would happen. Because, your mind will do whatever it can to keep itself in a safe state. Like, sure, they can. Sometimes your mind can handle stress. Your mind can handle a certain amount of stress. But if it goes over that and you start to panic and it goes far beyond what you're usually capable of handling, like, I'm happy I haven't had to discover that yet, or be in some kind of situation like that. But I can understand that in a situation like that, your mind will absolutely sort of short circuit and just
Yeah.
kind of does it basically gives you like a buzzer sound to every input that it gets. And that is, if your mind goes there, then that is not a good situation to be in.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the point of trauma, Jewel.
Hold on, you're saying the entire point of trauma is having bad things happen? Who would have guessed? Or not, maybe not one bad thing, but you could also have a continuous small amount of bad things happening, like a continuous amount of stress, a bad home situation, a bad school situation, those two combined.
Your school
Trauma comes in all
situation
shape.
was actually not when you had drones. I guess it was.
Well, that was not a little bit bad, but most important was just more incompetence from teachers.
Yeah.
And even when I got I literally got a manager involved. Like, I went full Karen mode. I was like, with these teachers, you will not reach anything. So I'm just gonna seek higher up immediately. And apparently that is not anonymous.
Yeah, no.
No, like I had to lead the conversation because, yeah. Oh well. That was, but previous schools. That's Like at some point recently, I went throughout my entire life to think about like, I wonder how how was my life so far? Sort of like, just a quick think. And then I realized that during the last like 2 to 3 years of primary school was me being bullied, then the first 2 years of secondary school, and only after that did it get better.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, almost for your entire like formative years, like sure you have your thing from like 4 to like 10, or maybe like 4 to 10 or 11, it was fine. But from like that point onward till like to like 14, 15, those parts where you're starting to get into puberty and all that those things where that was happening during those years, school was not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yet I didn't get discouraged somehow. I was like, oh well, this is happening, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, school was never made to be fun.
Well, it kind of needs to be. At least some parts of it.
You chose for this show.
Kind of, but you do not choose your classmates.
Well, no.
And that's where it generally goes wrong. You have your classmates that are the problem. And sometimes the teachers, but...
I don't know what you're talking about. Our classmates, every single one that we've ever had, were some of the most motivated and inspiring individuals I've ever seen.
You remember the guy that was literally playing Truck Simulator? I think it was American Truck Sim or European Trucks, or Euro Truck Sim, or Farming Simulator during lessons.
No?
You don't remember him? The guy that literally wasn't doing anything at all?
Oh wait, yeah, I do, wait.
He was at some point literally just playing Farming Sim.
Yeah, I do remember now. I was more talking about a certain person with red hair.
That left after 6 months.
Yeah. Was it 6
Like-
months? I thought it was shorter.
Yeah, like he lasted till around like November, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Like the first couple of months, and after that he dipped.
We won't name call because, like, you're not supposed to. But we had someone in our class during our first year, our first half year. And
Yes.
he had red hair. He wore this like a long like faux leather coat, like, and he would have been seen at school already, and still come a half an hour too late.
Yes.
Somehow. He would always, all of his, everything he talked about was just bullshit. Including with the teachers.
Oh yeah. Wasn't he also part of Extinction Rebellion?
Was he? I don't remember that.
I think so. That's why I hated one of our teachers that used to work at Shell. You know, the big oil company.
Yeah.
Yeah, having some environmentalist and then somebody that worked at a big oil company, they don't go well together. Let's just say that.
Nah, it was fine. It was perfect.
Yeah, that... Like, I think I've been, from our class, I've been the one to see him, I guess, the most. Or, like, for the last time, because... I have at some point after he left school seen him around my hometown a bit. But I haven't seen him in a while. I wonder if he's even still alive.
I would assume so.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of curious if there are any of our class that haven't graduated.
I have no idea. Yoron, apparently.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. Like, he graduated, they just didn't have his diploma ready.
Yeah, he
ready.
graduated, but he's just gonna be a little delayed.
Yes. Because the diploma was not ready in time.
So what's the school gonna do with that? Because he is gonna show up. So are they just gonna mention him, but he's not actually getting something?
Well, the thing is, he would be sitting with me because we both had the same kind of
Do we not get to
person
just choose
guiding
where we
us.
sit?
I think, isn't it gonna be with the person? Like, it's gonna be one class altogether in one room, but I think that would be filling up too much. So I feel like gonna split them up in groups. Like, the group they assigned to the teachers to guide you through your last bit, through your last intern. Like that teacher. I think that person is the one who's going to be, because they are going to do it sort of COVID style, where instead of doing it in one big room, like everybody at the same time, which can get boring because let's say your child was first. Cool, now you can't leave yet. You have to wait for everybody else to go. Or you're in last. Cool, now you're waiting the entire time until your kid is finally called up and you can finally go home. So instead, they're probably gonna split up within like the 6 or 7 people that they assigned to the teachers to get the final exam internship done. So that would mean that Jordan ends up with me. So I wonder what they're gonna do. I'm also wondering what they're going to say. Because what they'll most likely do during such a graduation is, before they give you your diploma, they kind of like they kind of give a little speech about you, like this person, when he came in was this, when he came out was that. These are some memorable moments. Done. Here's your diploma, put your signature down. Boom, you've now officially graduated.
Yes.
And for those who are still going to continue with school, are going to continue with school. And for those who aren't going to continue with school, are going to go to work.
Yes.
Like what we're going to, like what you're doing already, but what I'm going to do as well.
Yes.
Because why? I mean, of course, we could go to school, but we already have a diploma in engineering, in mechanical engineering. So yeah, that makes sense. Now I do need to change my Discord status again, because it for the last years has been saying engineer in progress. But now I can remove the in progress thing, because I'm no longer an engineer in progress, I'm an engineer.
Yes.
So I can just say when things look kind of sketchy, trust me, I'm an engineer. It also means that if I'm ever gonna do it and she asks if I have protection, I will pull out my safety boots and glasses and possibly a helmet. You know, and gloves. All with the proper ratings. Because safety first. You would totally kill the mood, but I would just be laughing my ass off. Like the F protection. Yes, hold on. Let me grab it from the other room.
It'd be so
Then
much
put on
funnier if she accepts.
Yes, of course you would. I would. If I, what I would do is to bring my overall
Okay, so here's the
hearing
problem.
protection,
Here's the
a
problem.
helmet. What?
I'm visualizing this right now, and I don't know if I like that. So on the one hand, it's a very funny image to see you only wearing safety glasses and shoes in a bed with a girl. But simultaneously, it's you wearing only safety glasses and shoes.
You know what? No, what my plan actually is, right? If you get the question of protection, yes, in the other room. Go to the other room, put on the gear, like full-on helmet, hearing protection, safety goggles, overalls, safety boots, gloves. Then putting a condom in one of the pockets. And then walk back into the room. So you're like fully covered in safety gear. Oh, even better yet, you know you also have one of those face shields, right? Instead of glasses, you have an entire face shield. That as well. So you have all the safety gear necessary to do like the most dangerous, like the most sketchy shit imaginable for the bedroom, because you have protection. You are now protected from sharp, hot objects.
Yes.
Why didn't I think of that before? A welding mask. Of course. I'm going way too far with this, and I know that. That's what makes it funnier.
Fair enough. Oh, you were
Because
not.
it is-
He wasn't done yet. I thought he
Also-
already took his part.
You're kind of far away from your mic.
Am I?
You were. Now you're
Oh.
not. But, like, I'm thinking about this too much, but I imagine coming with like a welding mask on. So you're protected from loud noises with hearing protection, sharp objects or hot objects because your overalls and gloves and things. You can drop things on your feet because you're wearing safety boots, which have steel toes, which are good.
Yeah.
It would either kill the mood completely, which is the highest chance, or make it a million times funnier.
Yeah. I don't know which one it would be.
Well, it would be it would be really funny, but it would also kill the mood.
Yes.
Like, it would absolutely kill the mood, but I would just be laughing my ass off a while standing in that room. That's probably a reason why I'm gonna stay single. Just my dumb sense of humor, where it's just mainly dick jokes and jokes like this. I have, like, all I have to do these days is just look at people. After they said something that can be taken out of context, all I have to do is look,
Does that include?
and I get.
Did that include on your internship?
No. At my last internship, they were surprised about my music taste and knowledge. Because at the radio station we would listen to, they had this game where you'd only get like 1 second of a song, and then you'd have to guess.
Yeah.
Or you could add like a couple seconds extra, but you would lose more of the rewards for choosing the longer option, choosing to listen to more of the song.
Yeah.
And at some point there was 1 second, and it was Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. And I recognized that one because it is a good song. I will fight you over that. And they were surprised I knew that one. Which got me kind of concerned for the newer generation and their music taste. Because it should not be that bad. Like, of course, it's older music, but in my opinion, the older music is still better than what's coming out these days.
A lot of times, yes.
Especially, what really bothers me are those shit remixes
Yes.
where they grab an iconic song from like the 80s or the 90s, then make a shit remix out of it,
Yeah.
and then that gets played on the radio for like months on end. So you're thinking
Yep.
like, oh, it's this song. Nope, it's the crap remix.
Yes.
And that is, to me, is just sad.
Fair enough.
Like, just think of something yourself. Be creative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, the more music gets created, the more likely it is you're copying somebody else's music. That is a thing.
Yeah. True.
But honestly, it's just some new music, like some of the new songs are good. Like it's not all
Yeah.
bad.
With a big thing for some.
But more often than not, the new music just doesn't really beat the old music. And also some radio channels just only play like 6 songs. Like I've at some point heard the same song like 3 times in a day. And that is something I cannot stand if you keep playing the same songs over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's enough variation of music to take from and to kind of improve, to kind of just go with. You can choose different songs. But again, my music taste also includes very weird and obscure music. Yeah. And also, I am dumb enough to, if at some point in London, I bought actually. Wait. Did we do a podcast before I went to London already? Or after I came back from London already?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. But I did buy a Star Wars CD with music from the original trilogy. For technically only one song. I only wanted the Cantina band. Like purely for that
Fair
song, I
enough.
bought a CD.
Fair enough.
So we have the main theme as well. We have the Imperial March in there as well. But it's like, it is from Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So I think that is actually the original 3 movies. Like episode 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But also, CDs just have something special to them, in my opinion. Like, sure,
Yeah.
you could change music easily right now with these days with just a Spotify playlist. Just click on another song. But changing CDs is something else. Because first, you have to actually look for the CD. You
Wait.
have to think,
But Joe,
what do I want to listen?
Joe, I can
Yes.
one-up you though.
What? Yes, I have actually, we do at home have some vinyl as well. And yes, we do have the single Never Gonna Give You Up. And yes, if I'm gonna go out of if I'm going to move out, I will probably be taking that one.
Fun fact. There are Hollow Knight vinyl records, like official ones.
Yeah. Also, I probably will have to look into a little. I think you have special cassette tapes which allow you to connect to Bluetooth, so you can play music from your phone through a cassette player. because in the old car I'm still restoring, I do have a radio for that that includes a cassette player underneath. So if I then have a tape that I could just shove into that, which would allow me to connect to Bluetooth, which would allow me to straight up just play the music I have on a playlist downloaded or otherwise, is going to be way better in an old car, because that car will need some music. Otherwise, you're gonna need that to drown out the engine sound, the engine noises, because it's gonna be loud.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Hopefully, it's not gonna be too loud, but it is. It is a rear-engined Volkswagen, and that exhaust is short, which is not a, which shouldn't be a big surprise. It's like usually in a car where you have your engine in the front and your exhaust going out the back, you have the entire length of the car for the exhaust to go. Like you have that entire length to deal with. But if you put the engine in the back, you drastically shorten that exhaust. And also during the Beetle event, I did see a lot of Volkswagens, especially since, same as last year, I was standing near the entrance. Kind of, first of all, letting only air-cooled Volkswagens in and keeping all the water-cooled cars out. Because, you know, it's an air-cooled Volkswagen event. We are not allowing water-cooled. We're not allowing your modern car inside. You will have to wait. You will have to park up somewhere else. That is an actual thing that we do. Like, I've had to tell multiple people or ask them if they could park outside. Or at least on, like, across the street. And somebody, like a woman, eventually drove up and said, "Yeah, but I have a small one, like a small kid."
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, you don't really want to move or walk a lot if you have a small child in the back seat. But then she also didn't know what air-cooled meant, which is just the cooling of the engine. Is that done through water, or is it done through air?
Yeah.
Of course, technically water-cooled engines are also cooled by air, because instead of pushing air over the engine, you're pushing air through a radiator which has water in it, which is used as coolant. But yeah, if you don't know what air-cooled means, but you're getting asked if you can park across the street because your car isn't, by the organizers, or at least by the crew, then you should probably listen, because they kind of run the event. And if we just let one person on it, like on our terrain, then everybody wants to go, you know? Because then they realize, oh, we can just go there. That's why we stand at the entrance. Also to give out goodie bags. And I got a goodie bag as well, because everybody that volunteered gets the goodie bag. Because basically saying thanks for the volunteering, thanks for spending an entire day with us, for travel, because you have to drive an hour to and from. And as Teresa said, I did get to drive home because I specifically told my dad that he could drink, because I have my driver's license as well and just wanted to drive. So I drove my grandma's car where we arrived in, which is an automatic. It's Mercedes. It is a decent car, don't get me wrong. It's just, yeah. We did see some dumb people on the road.
There's always
But
dumb
you
people
will-
on the road.
Yes, that's why you're on the road as well.
I am not on the road
We
that
heard them.
often. Actually, well, technically I am because I need to get to work, but like, not in a car.
Yeah. But generally when driving, like it was basically just highway driving. And highway driving, even though it may sound scary, it really isn't. You can just either keep right and just don't overtake anybody, or that's the tactic I usually employ, but this time I was like, I'm gonna overtake some people that are moving slowly because I'm not in the mood for, you know, the bullshit of just the people. Especially if you're behind a truck, then that's some suffering as well. Because you're behind a truck. And that's a problem sometimes. If you're behind a semi truck, they move slow. So you want to overtake. There are also some people that were just driving slowly. And that is also annoying. Just do the speed limit. But yeah.
I do think it may be time to wrap it up though.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So,
That I guess that leaves one thing to say, right?
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. We're not experts.
But we were here.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oh shit, we're going to tap out the game.
Hold on, let's stop the recording as well.